Welcome back to The Messy Cook. Today I am making pureed cauliflower or mashed cauliflower, whichever way you want to call it. I'm going to actually puree so it's completely smooth. What I've done here is I put this in a steaming pot. I have about an inch of water in the bottom. I've cut up about good size head of cauliflower and put that in the pot. I'm going to pop the lid on. Not sitting quite right, but that's okay. I'm going to get this turned on here to medium-high heat, and I'm going to cook these until fork tender. Now, I'm trying to eat a low-carb lifestyle, so, that won't always be the case, I'm sure, but for now I am. So I wanted to make something that's a little bit different. I know a lot of people like, ew, cauliflower, it does not taste like baked potatoes or, mashed potatoes. And you're right, no, it doesn't exactly. But if you try this recipe, I guarantee you, I won't guarantee it, but I'm pretty sure you're going to be fairly impressed with it. It's delicious. We do add in some little bit of bacon fat, some butter, some seasonings, and I'll show you how to get it to the perfect consistency. So when this is all done, we will come back and get it going. Okay, welcome back. So I'm just going to check this cauliflower, which I'm pretty sure is going about 20 minutes now. I'm going to check that. Whew. Sorry about the steam there. And let's see. Yeah, that's super fork tender, so it's probably a little overdone, but that's okay. So I'm going to get this drained, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the the cauliflower on the top. I'm going to drain the water out of the bottom and put the broccoli in there, and we will get to the next step. Okay, so right now you can see that the cauliflower is cooked. Oh, dog hair. Oh, thank God I'm the only one eating this. I got a Dexter hair. That's my dog that likes to sit here and beg for stuff. Anyhow, I'm going to turn this burner back on low. Here, and the reason I'm going to put it on, we're just going to leave it for a couple of minutes. I'm going to mash this by hand with my potato masher. Use whatever kind you have. Just to get a rough mash on this. Now let's see, it's going to come right down. This isn't going to make what appears to be a lot, but it's pretty filling once you get to the point where I cook it too, because I don't just mash, I don't just stop here and add butter and salt and pepper. I mash this down, and I want to cook off some of the water because cauliflower is super duper watery. And if I push to the side there, I don't know if you can see that or not, there's some water pulling through there in the bottom of the pot. So the reason for, actually I'm going to turn the burner up to medium. I'm just going to continue to mash this for a second. Tap that off. I'm going to get a big spoon. And what we're going to do, get our hair, is I just want to get some of that water cooked off. The reason I got the hole in here is this pan is quite warm. So we can just kind of mash and cook off some of that water as we go. So we're going to let this go for 2 or 3 minutes till it doesn't look so watery anymore, and we'll go from there. We'll come right back. Do a close-up here. You can see the water in the bottom right there. You can see that that's coming out. So we're going to keep that going for a few minutes. Okay, so I cooked off as much as I can with that. I'm going to put in this is, a food processor here. You could also probably do this in like a high-powered blender, but I prefer to do it in here as you can see it a little bit better. So all the cauliflower is going in there. It is still a little bit wet, and that's okay because we're going to do a little bit of a cook-off after this as well. Sorry, this pot's hot, so I don't want to burn myself. There we go. We'll set this aside. There. And then what we're going to do, I'm banging over here, we're going to add in the good stuff. So this is kind of where I get my flavors from, and this is what makes it not your same old boring mashed cauliflower. So this is about 2.5 tablespoons of butter. You can use salted or unsalted, completely up to you. I'm using salted, that's what I generally use in my house. I'm going to add, I save my bacon grease. You see the little bits of bacon bits on the bottom. If you get those too, that's all right. So I'm going to add a couple tablespoons of that. This is, like I said, more of a keto, that's probably good there. This is more of a keto sort of diet. So it is a little bit higher fat, but trust me, the flavor is amazing. I'm going to add in 1/4 cup of whipping cream. Now this seems like a lot of fat, but remember, if you're making potatoes and you put in you know, milk or cream or half and half or whatever you use, and you put some butter in. This really isn't that much different. Yeah, the whipping cream is, you know, a little indulgent, but trust me, it makes it taste amazing. So I'm going to use, let's get a little teaspoon here. I like to add some garlic powder. So I have about half a teaspoon of garlic powder. So you have kind of like a roasted garlic, or you can add in actual roasted garlic if you have that. I also have a video for that on my page. I like to add in about the same amount of onion powder. If you don't like these ingredients, don't add them in. I just do because it makes it more flavorful. And if you don't want to use whipping cream, just use milk or half and half if you want to be a little indulgent, but not too crazy indulgent. I'm going to put in about just about a quarter teaspoon or maybe half a teaspoon of salt. I don't want to overdo it because the bacon fat obviously is going to have some salt in it. And we're going to add in some pepper. Now, you know, this is just for me. If I was going to serve this to a bunch of people, I would probably use white pepper. You don't want to see the flakes in there, but I don't really care personally, so use that if you like. So we're going to get the top on here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to blend this. Let me get that in there. I'm going to blend that. And put that on top. We'll just kind of pulse it for a moment or two. Things come in. Hopefully you can see that. So I'm going to just take this off, and I'm going to push down the sides. We want to be 100% sure that all of the lumps are going to be removed. This is creamy and delicious. There is one more step after this before you can eat it. So let me just make sure all of our seasonings are in there. And feel free to add anything else if there's something else you prefer. Sometimes a little bit of mustard powder might be nice. It's really up to you what you want to put in it. And that's about it. The other nice thing you could add if you wanted is a little bit of Parmesan cheese, or you could add some other cheeses in if you want this a little bit gooier, I guess. So I'm going to wash out the pot that I had the cauliflower in when I was drying it, and I'm going to show you the last step. Okay, so I've got this pot washed out. Just going to scrape off the cauliflower mash. Now it does look a little bit runny, so this is why we have one last step. Yeah, this is time consuming, but you know what? It's worth the taste if you like cauliflower or cauliflower puree or mash. This extra step helps make it a little bit thicker, and then you can check your seasoning. You can check your seasoning now if this is a consistency. Sorry, I should be pushing this the other way here. If this is a consistency that you're okay with. It's a little bit thinner. Personally, I like it a little bit thicker. Also, this is great to make ahead of time. So if you make a big batcher like I have here, this will stay in your fridge. Just cool it to basically room temperature before you put it in the fridge. Otherwise, you're going to get a much more water content. And you're going to keep this in your fridge. You can up to, I think, 5 days, I think would be pretty good. So I'm going to turn this on in medium heat. There we go. And can't see the other way. Unfortunately, my camera is not set up quite right. I'm just going to get the last bit because I don't want to miss any of that goodness. So there we go. We'll set that aside. I am going to turn this up, and I'm going to start stirring this. Now, if you're not going to keep stirring it, then walk away. Just put it on a lower temperature and then stir it periodically. Personally, I like to just turn it right up and stir it periodically. As you can see here, there's a few black flecks. That's the pepper. Again, if you want to be pretty and you worry about that look, just use some white pepper and you'll never know. So we're just going to continue to cook this down a little bit, and what this is doing is removing some more water from it. It's going to come to a point where it looks like it's kind of bubbling a little bit, and those are the air pockets coming up, letting some of that moisture out. You can hear that as well. Hear that sizzle. So make sure you're stirring constantly. We don't want this to burn. We don't want it to brown. We want to keep this nice, beautiful, creamy texture. And yeah, I use this when I'm doing anything in the place of mashed potatoes. If I'm doing beef stew, if I'm doing a steak, if I'm doing prime rib and I don't want to eat a potato with it and I just want to have something a little low carb, yeah, that's what I do. So there we go. So I'm going to keep cooking this down. I'll let you know how long it's going to be. You can see the little bubbles sort of here. Now it's hard to see, but anyhow, there are some bubbles coming up, so we're just going to continue to mix that. I'll come back when we get to the consistency I want. All right, so I think I have this about to the consistency that I want. I'll bring this up here. You can see this is actually pretty thick. It looks runny, but it's actually not. Sliding off because it's vegetables and there is still a decent amount of water content. I just tested it flavor-wise, and it definitely needs some salt. So I'm going to add in half a teaspoon of salt just to add in there. That's just to my taste. If you don't like it too salty, don't add it in. We're going to get this all mixed up. Like another taste, so I can taste the creaminess of the whipping cream. I can taste a little bit of the bacon fat. If you don't like that, don't add it in. If you're not a meat eater and you just want to do this vegetarian, and you know, if you have milk, or if you don't want to and you want to do it like a vegan, you can probably do coconut milk. It'll give it a little hint of coconut, but I don't think that would be too bad when you add the other seasonings in. It's going to make it more savory. Or you could use plain almond milk, not vanilla or anything, because that will just make it taste weird. So I'm going to use my little, there we go, just to try that again. Just keeping this going for a couple more minutes. That's perfect. So I'm going to leave this for now. I'm not going to be eating dinner for a little while, but I will come back and show you what it looks like on the plate with my supper. So I'll be back soon, and I hope you try this.